You.
That helps.
Awesome. Okay, so here we are live on Authority Alchemist. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us here today. And I know you're in your author journey, and tell us about what that's been like for you, and
Yeah.
where you're at.
So yeah, my journey was a little bit different than most people. I started writing a couple of years ago. I've always wanted to get into writing a book or starting some type of franchise because I've always been into a bunch of different things. And a few years back, I actually unfortunately got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I had to go through chemotherapy. And during that time, I was tired. I couldn't do too much, but I started to jot down ideas for things that I wanted to do, like for a book. And actually, I have it on my phone here. I don't know if you can see it,
Not
but
really.
it's okay. But I could do this entire interview, and it would just keep going and going and going
Oh
and
my
going.
gosh.
Very long.
Yeah.
But I eventually stumbled across the book that I have now. And when I eventually did get better. I'm okay now.
I was gonna
And
ask. I was like, where are you at? Okay, good.
yeah,
Congratulations.
no, we're okay now. Everything's good now. And I just dove in and I kept writing and writing and writing. And after a long time of prepping it, I eventually figured out that it's going to be a trilogy. And I have two prequel books on it too. It's epic fantasy or dark fantasy um, genre of a book. And it's long. It took me a long time, but I'm excited that it's actually finally here. And
Amazing.
and yeah.
And so I'm curious too and first of all, like amazing that you've recovered, and I just want to like congratulations and kind of like give you that warm hug, virtual hug
Yeah,
for that. It's
appreciate it.
amazing. And it's neat to see, someone that has always wanted to write a book and then actually has done it, because so many people out there say they want to have these things on their list and don't actually do them. So kudos to you for actually following through.
Yeah,
And so
thank
I'm
you.
curious too. Yeah. And I'm curious too with your books, like, did it come to you in a dream, or like, where did you come up with the ideas for it?
So I would randomly just think of ideas for things, and I
Okay.
would just like quickly jot them down on my phone. And I had a bunch of ideas before I wrote this one, and I actually started writing a different one, and I finished the first chapter of it, and I finished it, and then I like sat there and I said out loud, I was like, "This sucks. This is not it." And so I went back to the drawing board and I saw like an old quote, or not quote, but an old note that I had.
Mhm.
And I have it on my phone. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was like something like family with godlike power fights each other. That's all it was. Now, if you read my book, it's not really exactly what it is, but that's what started it. And then one thing led to another. I started making characters,
Mhm.
and then after I made the characters, I made the world, and then plot lines started to fill, and then like one thing would lend to another, and like there would be plot holes left and right, and then I would think like, oh, that fills that one, that fills that one, that fills that one. And so I planned everything out. Like the whole order of events was written on my phone before I typed it out,
That's awesome.
at least for book one. And book one's done. Book two is like a third of the way there. But yeah, everything is planned out on my phone. That was just kind of my process. Just I'd be randomly doing something, mowing the lawn, at the gym, working on something, and I would just in the shower, I would just pick up my phone, like put the note down, and then just go back to what I was doing. Yeah.
It's so interesting to see different writers' processes. I know, and I've heard that a lot too. And I'm the same way. Like, I'll start something and I'm like, this isn't the book. And then
Yeah.
I'll shelve it. And then it's actually funny because like something I've come to like years ago, I'm like, something on my shelf. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, wait a second, let's go back to that, or the notes that are in, scribbled all over my desk or my phone as well. So I
Mhm.
love hearing about others' processes too. And I feel like it helps other authors. All of us have our own method to our madness, or,
Mhm.
in some way. And it's cool to see when it comes together and how it comes together. I'm
Yeah.
curious too, on your first book, have you published that yet? Or
It is out now. It
and
is now. It came out last Tuesday, actually.
oh my gosh,
October 17th.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Yay.
you.
How
There,
can
there was like a slight problem with Amazon because I put in a file and then I realized like there was a few things that I had to fix in the file, and
Mhm.
then I fixed it, and I put the new file in, but Amazon for whatever reason didn't take it, and I ordered 30 copies of it,
Oh my
and now I
God.
have all these copies like, and the table of contents doesn't have page
Oh,
numbers, and there's a few spelling errors in it. I was so upset by it, but it's fixed now. It's okay now. So I think at least it should. So I think future orders it should be up to date, which is good.
yeah.
But this is my first time doing all this, and it's been a process. I have
Yeah.
had a little bit of help, but it's been, it's a learning curve for me too.
It is.
It's a
Yeah.
learning curve for me. So I know it's probably not going to be picture perfect, but I think I've only gotten good responses and reviews on the story itself,
Great.
and there's a couple reviews in there already, which is really good. But yeah, hopefully one day it could get picked up by a publisher or something. I'm going to be sending it out, but it's been a fun journey so far, and I've really enjoyed it.
That's amazing. And I would say this, as far as your second book, I would pitch it. I would pitch it to a publisher, and
Yeah,
I would do it soon. Because generally when something's already out and something's already published, a publisher won't publish that because it's already published, it's already out.
yeah,
But what I would do is, since you're writing on the second, there's a third coming. You never
mhm,
know. There could be more,
yeah,
um, in that series, or there could be, maybe the other world has its own stories, and that's another whole,
yeah,
trilogy or whatever. So what I would do is I would pitch now, see what happens. And everything, and when I speak to that, like, you need a book proposal. That's like number one
hmm
to get to a publisher, whether it's a hybrid version or whether it's an actual publisher. I would try and hit up a publisher.
yeah.
Being that this book is fresh and it just came out. And then, as far as I know, you had some questions on marketing as
Mhm.
well. I'm curious, your book that's out now, how have you been marketing and what has that been like for you?
So far, I've just been marketing it on Instagram and Facebook,
Okay.
trying to get more followers, pitched it to people. I've also been sending it to people who might just be interested in it, people who have like book review pages and stuff like that.
Great.
So I'm just shipping them free copies.
Yeah.
And if they like it, I need reviews on Amazon. That'll probably get me in the right spot. Maybe more people will see it. Maybe ear to mouth type thing, like they
Yeah.
tell a friend. That's kind of what I've been doing so far.
Okay.
But I do plan on going to libraries, trying to do book signings, so certain public events. Um, I know there's a lot of like Comic Con-ish
Just going to say that.
type
Yes.
events.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get a seat at Comic Con, but
Mhm.
any type of event like that, I should probably start to hit up and go
Yeah.
to, and try to market it that way, because just being personable and talking with people is a step in the right direction,
Yeah.
and that's what can connect the face to the book. More people will probably buy it.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, do you have a website?
I do. I do.
What is your website? Let's tell everyone what your website is.
It's the name of the series. It's menamonggods.com.
Amazing.
Yep. And all the information is there. There's a link to order it there.
Great.
Info on me, the series, blogs, everything.
So that's one of the first things I would do, is just start plugging your website everywhere that you can.
Yeah.
And then, do you have an email collection on there?
Yep. I have a newsletter.
Perfect.
Yep.
Are you warming your list up as well?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to. Yeah. It's not. It's not huge, but it's not little. So we're getting there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things I would suggest, and maybe you already have it, because I feel bad I haven't checked it out yet.
It's okay.
Do you have a freebie that you're offering for your list?
Okay. So originally it was the free chapters.
Okay.
Before the book was out.
Great.
But now that it's out, I'm gonna have to think of something else. I was
Yeah.
thinking about stickers, a bookmark. Maybe I was gonna do a promotion on the ebook soon. Maybe early access to the ebook promotion.
Okay.
Push it down to like $1.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do that. But we'll see.
Great.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some ideas.
It's a great way. I know there's like some tricks too to kind of get Amazon bestseller, if you know about those.
Yeah.
If you push it down to like 99 cents and you get your entire email list to buy it all within one day,
Mhm.
that's Amazon bestseller.
Yeah.
It's a way to like trick the system in a sense, but it's really great because then it goes to help when you go pitch a publisher.
Mhm.
I'm a bestseller, and they're like, oh, okay. And then it
Yeah.
helps the next books that are coming out, just like little tidbits. I love what you're doing already. You're doing a lot. And it's great that you had that freebie. Yeah, just come up with another freebie. Another suggestion is the holidays are coming up, right? So what are
Yeah.
some other ways that you can kind of come up with how to package it, like how to buy a book for the loved one? So maybe, and it's not, I wouldn't discount your book, but I would give something with it. So maybe
Yeah.
it's like, so are you only having it on Amazon, or do you have books yourself?
I have some books myself, and I'm going to continue to buy. But the books I have right now are the
Okay.
ones that are the misprints.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm gonna buy more author copies. I'm gonna, because I need a good plethora to bring to bookstores and signings and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
So I will have a supply with me too.
Great. I would offer a deal even as like, buy a book and you get my autograph, personalized to you or to whoever the gift is for. That's one. Maybe, and that could be like bundle it in a way. So they can buy it on Amazon, but then I would have a link on your site where they could buy it directly from you too with that deal that you're offering.
Yeah,
And it could be fun. Is your website is it Squarespace or
it is
just
Squarespace.
perfect?
Yeah,
So what you could do is on Squarespace, it's so easy. You could add like deals of the month, like a little section, and it can like, add on, the book with a personalized copy right here. And then this one could be, the other book's not ready yet, but like think of something else you could bundle with it. It could be a mug. I mean, something like along the lines of, because you want to create this world, you want to create the fan base around the series, right? And you think of like, I'm going to throw this in, but you think of like Lord of the Rings, or you think of Harry Potter, and like look at how that kind of has blown up, right?
Yeah.
And also, what's interesting with Harry Potter is like, how many times did she pitch it over and over and it was rejected?
Yeah.
And look how epic this year. Look at it as now. It's like,
Yeah.
You just never know. And that's another thing that I like to talk to authors about is don't get discouraged if you do pitch it to a publisher and they say no, because that's a perfect example. It's an epic series. It's epic writing. It's amazing. Why they turned it down, who knows?
Yeah. You never really know what's going to turn out well, And I actually had another interview with another guy who does a podcast as well. And we talked on the phone beforehand just a little bit. And he gave me some insight. And he even said kind of what you said. He's like, just so you know, this is your first book. Don't get discouraged. There's a good chance it'll flop. And that's nothing against you. It's just the first book. No one's ever heard of this before. He's like, you just got to keep pushing. I didn't make any money until like my third book. He's like, it happens. Just keep going. So, and that's, it honestly made me feel a little more secure in a way. So, I plan to keep going. I plan to do whatever I can because, I have faith in it at least.
Yes.
But there's a lot more to do for sure. And the promotion stuff.
Yeah.
And, do you use Squarespace? That's kind of what I'm getting from you.
I love Squarespace. I personally love it. Yeah. And then go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, how do you have the book sale options on there? Because right now I've only just linked it to my Amazon.
Okay.
Do you have actually like, oh, buy it for me, click this button?
Yes.
And then do you personally ship it out? Like, how do you do that?
It's different because I have different clients doing different things. So one client has a center that's a fulfillment center that's doing it for them. And so it just kind of, I am not techie when it comes to this, but they work with the center, and when the button clicks, somehow they know and they ship it out. But he also has a way with personalizing it. So if you click on one of the bundles and you want it personalized, then, and like the person here doesn't know, like the buyer doesn't know what's going on in the backgrounds, but like, when you add it as a product, basically what you would do is create product section. And then you would add it as a product. So like you'd add it on as like a personalized book, right? And then you put the amount on there. And let's say if it's on, I'm just throwing this out there because I have no idea. Let's say it's on Amazon for $17. You could put $20, or $25 or whatever it is for your autograph, personalized. It's up to you what you choose. Or it could be a deal. It could be the same price because it's a deal. It's our special right now, whatever it may be. But you put that on there and it'll link on the back end to you know, if I would just ship it out, honestly, if it's you right now, because if you're personalizing them, I know it's annoying to have like books back there, but include the shipping. Like Squarespace will include, you know, there's a thing called shippo.com.
Okay.
Which is really great. You can integrate that into the Squarespace. And again, I have someone that does this, so I don't know how. But, I have a person for almost all of this, but they integrate it. I like Shippo a lot because Shippo shows you the cheapest options that you can ship out around the country and really around the world too. That's what I love about it. It kind of scans what makes sense from your zip code to wherever theirs is. It's cheaper than you're going to go on USPS.com or whatever. It's way easier. So I love using that. And what you could do too is, like, let's say someone buys it on your site, and they're going to pay for it, and you link your PayPal to it, and that's how you get your money. You can go on Shippo and create the label that they put, you know, their address in here, and it might be cheaper for you, and then you just hand type it in. It's fine if on the low orders. If you're getting a plethora of orders at once, obviously that's going to change and that's going to shift. Yeah. And you want to think of a different plan. But I think for right now, I would just do that. It's going to be cheaper for you and easier. And the great thing about USPS, for example, if you're a busy person, and I know this because I have another business where I do this, you can literally go on USPS.com.
Yeah.
Do a pickup. It's a free pickup, and they come the next day, and you just put all your orders that you've done, like you've printed out all the labels and set it outside. And another great thing about USPS is you can order the labels, the sticky labels. You can order those and it takes like 2 weeks to get delivered, but they're free. They're completely free. So do it. And then, and you can even order the packages and stuff like too for free. I make mine on Amazon, and because I have, like I said, a separate business, it's a boutique. So it's got the business with its name on it, and I have the stickers on it. But whatever you want to do to make that user experience, you know, for you more friendly, don't spend a ton. That's my biggest thing. Don't spend a ton.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to.
Yeah. You can just get the free things from USPS, and you have the free packages and then the free sticky labels. And then, like I said, order, you know, do a pickup on there. It's all free, which is awesome. And that way you're not running out every single day to the post office. It's like you just set it out, you know, and then they come to your front door and get it, which is great. So I definitely recommend that for right now. As you get busier, that's going to shift, you know, fulfillment center or wherever it might be later. But that's what I would do. And I would create some fun marketing stuff, like going on, I mean, there's like Canva or wherever, because even Canva offers it, or Vistaprint's one. There's so many out there, where it's like buy a bunch of mugs with your label on it or your logo, you know, for the series. Make it fun, or like something along those lines that's going to create that fan base, because everyone loves a good mug. You know? Especially if it's something cool and fun too. Like I can't tell you how many Harry Potter mugs I have downstairs. They're just cool and they're fun. Or like take a really fun quote from the book that you're trying to market with. And I would definitely do this anyway. I would pick a bunch of cool quotes from the book that makes sense. So like Harry Potter, I'm using this because everyone knows it, but it's like they have the Muggle quote, and there's like there's another one. I actually use this for my baby shower for my son. It's something about when you're growing up, and I can't remember the name right now, but along the same things, take quotes that could become really well known from your book and use those on marketing everywhere. Put them on your social, you know, put them on the mugs, put them on, you know, a sticker or wherever it may be, to create that hype and that fan base of like, that's a cool quote. Where did that come from? Or what does that mean? And then you get to talk about it on podcasts and whatnot. But I would start blasting that out. Something you could put on a t-shirt even. And that way, when you are creating stuff for the holidays throughout the year, because there's always a holiday, right? You've got gear to send out and to sell, you know, like it could be a t-shirt, whatever. But that way you can bundle it and then, you know, get your money back from it, bundling it. But it's also free promo. You know, it's something cool that you could use to get out there. I love what you're doing with the book clubs and with, you know, like and reaching other people for like book blogs and whatnot too. I would say your book that you're writing now, the best time to promote a book is 6 months before the launch. So let's say, do you have an idea of when you think this book might come out? Just curious.
The second one? Oh my God. Probably a little while, to be honest with you. So I'm busy. I teach. I'm a teacher full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm also in my master's.
Oh my God.
Um,
Yeah, that's a lot.
and I'm promoting this new book right
Yeah.
now. So I've kind of put the second one on a back burner.
Okay.
Obviously, I'll have more time in the summer to write. Breaks. I can get into it.
It's fine.
I would love to say a year from now.
Okay.
I'd love to say a year from now. I don't know if it's accurate, um, but I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough. Because I whipped through the first one, and I don't
Mhm.
know how I wrote it. I wrote it in under a year, and it's like
Wow.
530 something pages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a big book. But I wrote. It used to be longer too. We had to cut a lot out. So I whipped through that one. I got it done. Editing took a little while.
Mhm.
So I think I could whip through the next one too, because I know what it's going to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I have it written out. I just have to sit there and actually write it,
Yes.
which is the hardest part. But once that's done, it'll be good to go. It's just a matter of when I find the time.
And you know what? I only say this because when it does come out, or when you have the idea of like, you know what, I could get this is ready to come out in 6 months. Like when you're at the editing stages for it, then I say, let's say you pick a date. The best thing to do is like pick your date like in the future, but know that you want a 6 months time to promote. That's the best way. That way, when your book comes out, you've already got quotes from people. You've got advanced praise, it's called. You've got blogs that are talking about it. Like, boom, it lands all on that day of your launch date. And you've got this buzz that's kind of already happening. It's already been planned out ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend doing that as well. And then there's a lot of, and doing as many podcasts as you can is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a publicist, so like obviously if you worked with a publicist, that's really great as well to get out there and get as many interviews as you can in the media, magazines. Like people love this. This is kind of like, and as you're on Instagram, like I was saying before, pick quotes from your book to put out there, and look at what's trending as far as hashtags, because I'll tell you like Bookstagram, Instabooks. Books, like there's like all these hashtags that are really trending. They're going to pick up to you. Make sure you're looking at what that is as you're talking about it on Instagram. Go live. That's going to be an important thing too, is go live on your own Instagram a couple times, maybe do it once a week and talk about the book writing process, talk about the characters, what they mean, why you chose them, why this is happening in the book. Literally like fun stuff like that. It'll be, people will see that and they're like, well, wait, what book is this? Oh, there's a book, and then you're like, oh, link in bio, and put the link in the bio to buy it, and on your Instagram if you don't already. But those are just really, okay, cool. Yeah. Those are like just really like fun ideas to do. But I would honestly, literally, I would start pitching now to get your second book, because you could get paid, to write it. And if you got paid to write it, obviously it would, take a priority at some point. And
would they also pick up the first one?
No, because it's already out. You already published it.
Okay. Because I heard of publishers that pick up self-published authors too.
They pick you up for the future ones, not for something that's been published, because you already published it. It's already out there. They're not going to make money off of, I hate saying this, but they care about how they're going to make money and what they own.
Oh, for sure.
So, right. So that's the biggest thing. And so right now, like that's out there. They're not going to pick that book up because it's already out, unless you were to like take it off, change the name, change some stuff in it. Like it becomes something new. Anyway, you already own that and own that out there. So like your second book, I would I would create that book proposal and pitch it.
Yeah.
Now, and then while this other book's out there, say, I've just launched this and it's doing really well. And, I've got a whole plan, but obviously it'd be better if I had a bigger plan and like, have you guys, and here's the third book and here's my ideas and explain it all. A book proposal though is what they're going to want. And I mean, I have some templates on my website. I can like send you stuff if you want, obviously. You can fully check that out. I'm always open to work with too, if you want to, but that's a whole nother thing. I have a lot on your plate right now, but that way, if you have the template and you know what they're looking for, it's great. And And then you could, pitch that way and look at their queries. Make sure that they're open submissions as well. It's one of the biggest things. But the book proposal that I have is like one they love because it stands out from all the other proposals they get. Because they're getting thousands of submissions a day. So your proposal is like, why does your book stand out? And all these points are in my template of like why your book stands out, why it'll do better, how it compares to others, and how it'll sell. Like there's so much involved in the book proposal itself, but also like there's a marketing portion. Of course, they have their own PR, which is great when you get signed. But all these points that you want to hit in the proposal, so that if you answer it for them, they're like, he just did this for us. Like, why wouldn't they would take a meeting then versus the other submissions that come in that don't have all of this. Because you can Google all you want. And I'm telling you, like, I have a book that's coming out literally diving into all of these. There's nothing out there that I have seen that hits every point that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so if you hit all those points, your chances of getting a meeting are quicker. And then, of course, if you're working with like someone like a book agent or what I do, which I do as well, then you're not just going in the query submissions of everyone else. You're going in higher. You're going to get the answer right back right away versus like throwing it out there and seeing
waiting forever. Yeah.
Right.
So I actually did this a long time ago.
Okay.
When I first started doing this, when I wrote the first one, it was done. It was before I met my editor, before everything, and I sent it to a bunch of places. And my prelude, this sounds really weird, but my prelude was written differently from the rest of the book.
Okay.
It was like written in a different style because I was trying to give too much backstory.
Okay.
So I had to change the whole thing. It's way better now, I promise.
Yeah.
So when I sent it out to all these publishers, it had the original prelude in there, and it was part of the first 10 pages, and not a lot of people got back to me. And I think I sent it to, was it? No, I sent it to agents, book agents. Do you, what was your advice on that? Do you think you actually need those, or?
It's up to you. I just started doing that just because people have asked me, but
yeah.
You can pitch right to a publisher.
Okay.
It's a toss-up because if you have a book agent, the book agent knows multiple publishers out there, and they're going to be advocating for you. They're going to be out there trying to find the right, publisher for you, because it is a working relationship, because you want to make sure that whatever publisher you go for isn't going to cut every single thing out and then it's a different book, and you're like, wait, what? You want it to be synergistic. You want to feel like they get you, and your agent also gets you and gets your mission and what you want, so that they match you with the right publisher. Because I'd say most publishers are easy to work with. However, what it comes down to is the editor. You want to have, your editor is working right there with you, and like, you want a really good editor. So that's the book agent advocates for you. They're also helping you do the deals. They're when you're getting the deal, they're going to work for you and fight that you get the best, deal with that. Can you pitch right to a publisher? Sure, you could. Just know that if you don't have a lawyer or you don't have someone looking at the deal in the end, you just want to make sure that you do. And the book agent does take a percent. So it knocks that if you go right to the publisher, you don't have to worry about that percent. However, you do want to, again, it's the contracts that you want to make sure you're dealing with it, right? If you've got an awesome book proposal, you could totally pitch to either.
Okay.
I go right to publishers is what I do, but that's because, I know them. But even when I didn't, I just found a way. It's just like when I first got started, I was like, oh, I will find a way to figure it out and go right to them. But you have to have the book proposal. It's not, like I said, it's not something you can just Google, because of course, Google will tell you stuff. It's way more involved than that. And you want to make it really stand out. I have the template, like I said, that I know that they love, that you could totally do. And you'll see, you'll be like, oh, wow, this is way more than what I would have thought. But if you do that, you're answering all their questions right away, and then they take a meeting. And honestly, the meetings go like this. They look at the proposal and they're asking you things straight off that are in the proposal that you already have the answers to.
Yeah.
And then you go from there. If they take a meeting, there's interest. Absolutely. That and then I will say this, if you meet with several of them, everyone's going to tell you something different. Don't change the book based upon what this person says and this person says and this person says, because they're all going to say something different. Don't change it unless there's something consistent they're each saying. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll switch that because it's consistent. But I'd say 90% of the time they're all over the place and they're not consistent. So don't let that, because again, it's everyone else's opinion, right? It's like when when you watch a movie, it's like, why did they do this, or why did they do, it's all different. It's everyone's perception of that. So that's my biggest advice to you. But also don't pitch unless it says open for submissions. Because if you pitch outside of that, or you pitch someone in the wrong, it's like it gets tossed in the trash, or they're like, oh, he didn't read directions. And I will tell you, a lot of times, whoever it is can get, if you didn't read the specific directions and you didn't follow them, they won't work with you. Like you're gone. For the most part, when you're submitting to a general query. Like it's like an assistant is looking at them. It's like, and I will tell you, I was the assistant looking at them back in the day. So like if it didn't stand out, it was like, uninteresting. Next. Next. Because what I'm doing as an assistant, I'm going through all these submissions, but I also have all of this work on top of my desk I have to do. So like these submissions are not as important of like what I have to do here. So if it doesn't pop out in front of my face, toss. They're not printing them out either. They're not. They're going and looking at your email. They're opening it up and they're like, maybe delete, or like next email, unless it really stands out. And then when it pops out, you're like, oh, well, this is interesting. I'll read this. And if all the information is there and it's quickly readable through to the point and it looks marketable and all those sections are answered, I'm like, okay, I'll pass this on to my boss, and then it goes to that next level, and then it goes to the next level, and then you might get a meeting. So just to let you know, like how it works.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So
it's
anyway.
It's a process. No, thank you. That's what I want to know. I would definitely would want to see the template.
Sure.
Because I would want to send it as much as I can. It's a process. I remember I did this a long time ago. It was like over a year now, and it took me months to hear anything back. But
sometimes.
Right now a publisher does have my current book copy.
Ooh. Okay.
So waiting to hear back. Haven't heard anything yet, but I know it takes some time. They've had it for like a week or two, so it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
So it's perfect to talk about. I mean, there you go. And let me know. Keep me posted on what's happening and whatnot. I'd love to know you. And if you have any other questions as far as marketing and whatnot, you have my email. So
okay, yeah, perfect. I'll probably be hitting you up. So I appreciate your time and having me. I'm trying to get as much opinion and much insight as I possibly can. I'm new to this, but I've been having fun and I like to learn as much as I can. But it's
great. Another thing you could do too is on the PDF copy, rather than send physical books out, you could send a PDF copy out to some media. That's another way to do it. Create your own press release. Look up what that. There's plenty out there you could find.
Oh, I have one.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Planning on sending that out to my local stuff soon. Actually,
do that and ask them. I will give you a physical copy or a PDF. Ask them what they want, because sometimes the PDF is fine. They don't always want, believe it or not. And that way you're not spending like money on all of that and the energy on it. You could just be like, oh, give them a link to the Google Drive that the PDF is in.
Yeah.
It's way easier. A lot of media are totally fine with that. So
perfect. It's easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other questions at all?
I think that's about it. You kind of hit everything on the head. My main concern has just been marketing it, trying to get as many people as informed about it as possible. But I think you helped me out with that a little bit. So I have some new things to try for sure. But it's still in the early stages, still very, very early on, but it's been exciting.
Awesome. Yay. Well, I'm here if you have any other questions that you can think of too. And I think you've got a great solid plan for what you've said so far. So it seems like you're on the right track.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining. And for everyone out there, see you next time.
Have a good one.